Hey guys, it's Eric from Quality Electric. Today we're just going to go over some frequently asked questions we get about automatic generators, some things to look out for, and a couple things that'll be good to know. All right, so right here we have a 16 kW Generac. This one's located in Brookfield. Up here in northern New Hampshire, they lose power quite frequently, so this one gets a lot of use. So you want to make sure they get maintained regularly. But we're going to go right now to the other side, and I'm going to show you one of the most important parts about your generator. Right here, we've got our indicator light. It tells you the status of the generator. It's the easiest way to quickly identify if your generator is ready to run or not. If that light's green, it means it's in auto and it's ready to run if you have a power outage. If you see any other color on there, you'll have to take the correct action depending on the color. If you look at the light and you see a yellow or an amber light, looks a little orange, that's a warning that there is usually a low battery or a maintenance alarm. Won't stop it from running, it's just telling you that it's something you need to take a look at. If you come out here and you see a red light, that means your generator will not run if there's an outage. So if you see a red light, follow some of the steps that I'm going to show you in this video to rectify the problem, or give your generator service person a call. Here at the back side of the generator, there's a couple things to know. We've got your electrical connections right here. This is the fuel supply. This little blue knob, sometimes they're a different color, but that's your fuel shutoff. If for some reason you ever need to shut the fuel off to the generator, that's one spot you can do it. But more importantly than that is this little black button. This is an auxiliary shutdown. If you turn that button off, it will stop the generator from running. The reason I say it's so important is because it's very easy to accidentally hit. Sometimes kids accidentally hit it, or whoever worked on the generator last might accidentally hit it, but it's really easy to hit, and it's not so easy to turn back on, but we're going to walk you through that right now. So you'll see right here, if we hit this auxiliary shutdown and we look at our light, the light turns red. If you remember from earlier in the video, I told you that if the light's red, it means the generator is not going to start. But the problem is, if we just turn this shutdown switch back into the on position, the light's still red, so the generator is still not going to start. I'm going to show you right now how to reset that. This process can be used to reset any alarm, whether it's a maintenance alarm or a failure to start alarm. No matter what it is, this is the process that you use to reset those alarms. So you'll come over to here and you'll see you have your auto, your manual, and your off button on your control panel. You're going to go ahead and push the off button and then push the enter button, and you'll hear a little click and the alarm is reset. Now you're ready to put it back in auto or start it manually. We don't want to start it manually right now, so we're going to go ahead and push auto. We'll take a look at our indicator light and it's green, so we're good to go. That same process is used to reset any alarm. So if your light's orange and you're sick of looking at it, you can clear it that way. If it didn't start because of a fuel issue and you want to just reset it and try again, that's the process that you follow. Important thing to remember is that if you try to reset it and it resets and then you try and start it and it fails to start and goes back into an alarm, that's when it's time to call your service person. Under the lid of the generator, there's only a few things you really need to know about under here. We've got our control panel right here. Just like we talked about before, there's off, manual, and auto. Most of the time you're going to leave it in auto, but if for some reason you need to turn it off because you don't want it to run, you're going to go ahead and push the off button. It's important to remember that if you push off, it won't do its bi-weekly exercise. So most of the time you're going to just want to leave it in auto. If you want to just come out and see if it's running on its own, you can come out and push the manual button and it'll crank right up and start. But it will not transfer power, it's just going to start the engine right here and run it until you turn it off. Up here, we've got a circuit breaker. Just like the circuit breakers in your house, it can be turned off, it can trip, it can do any of that stuff. So if your breaker is tripped out here and you're not sure how to reset it, you can go to our YouTube channel. We have a couple videos covering that topic. Just like on the back of the generator, there's an auxiliary shutdown switch in here. This one's not so easy to accidentally hit, but if for some reason your generator is not starting, that's one spot you want to check. Underneath here, you have an engine just like any other piece of lawn equipment. It has spark plugs, it takes oil, all that good stuff, so it needs the same type of maintenance that you'd give your lawnmower or your snowblower. We recommend at least once a year. If you live in an area like this where it's running quite frequently, you might want to consider 2 services a year. This Generac unit is an air-cooled unit, so you need to really make sure that all winter long, even after we get 2 feet of snow, you're keeping a clear path all around it. You can see on this side and on the other end there's louvers. That's because it's pulling air in from one side and blowing it out the other to keep everything nice and cool. You don't need to do much. You just need about 18 inches all around. That way it can pull air and disperse it like it's supposed to. So there's just one other thing I want to point out. A good system's only as strong as its weakest link, and unfortunately for most generators, that's the gas regulator. This one has an underground tank, so the regulator is actually covered, so it's not as big of a deal for this one. But in most applications, the regulator is going to be on the home. Those are really susceptible to freezing. So if your generator's not starting and you go outside and your propane tank is covered in snow, or the gas regulator on the side of the house is all covered in snow, you're going to want to go ahead and brush that off so that the sun can thaw it out and give it another shot. All right, so down here in the basement, we've got our automatic transfer switch. Sometimes these are mounted outside, sometimes they're mounted inside. It really depends on the installation. Right now, I'm just going to show you what it looks like inside under this cover, and then we're going to simulate a power outage. So the only thing underneath the cover that you need to worry about is this switch right here. This is a main breaker, so if you turn this switch off, it'll shut the power off to your house. We're going to use that to simulate a power outage. So what's going to happen is I'm going to turn that breaker off. There'll be about a 30-second delay. The generator will start, come up to speed. You're going to hear a little bang. It's going to transfer over to generator power, and we'll be back up and running. Now you can see we're back on generator power here. Everything's up and running. Just remember, you don't have to do this during a power failure. I'm just doing that to show you what happens during an outage. And then the opposite happens when the power comes back on. Whether you're home or not, all this stuff still happens. It's fully automatic. So now let's pretend that the utility company turned the power back on. After the generator sees that there's good power for about 15 to 30 seconds, you'll hear another little bang. Then the generator will run for about 5 to 10 minutes to cool itself off, and then everything turns off automatically. Utility power's back on. The generator ran for about 10 minutes, cooled itself off, and now it's ready to go again if they need it. Just remember, if you need to reset any alarm, just open the cover, turn the generator off, push the enter button, and put it back in auto, and you'll be ready to go. Thanks for watching. If you found the video useful, just go ahead and give us a follow to watch more like this.